After 3 weeks of turning back the clock, the drivers are met with one more surprise as they take on the longest continuously operated track in America. It might be an old track, but for iRacing, this is a new track. But for the drivers, Big Willow provides a unique challenge for all forms of motor racing. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to watch round 10 of the Camel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Hello everyone, I am Craig King, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Robert O'Brien, and he is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. In November, this track will celebrate 70 years of non-stop running. But nowadays, Willow Springs is used for testing and filming, with Ford versus Ferrari a well-known example. So let's take a closer look with our track guide.
Welcome to Willow Springs International Raceway. As the oldest permanent road course in the U.S., it holds a particular place of distinction among American motorsports fans. The circuit is just an hour and a half north of Los Angeles, and because of this, it has been used in various films and TV shows over the years. With only 9 turns over 2.5 miles, or just over 4 kilometers, you'd think it's a pretty simple affair. But the incredible camber, numerous elevation changes, and some diabolically fast corners means there's complexities here to keep drivers busy for years. The downside is that there are a few heavy braking zones throughout the lap, and most are not in a straight line. Rabbits Ear and Turn 9 each require the driver to carry tremendous speed and aim for frighteningly late apexes. Meanwhile, the run past the Budweiser balcony all the way through the Monroe Ridge takes you on a roller coaster of rises and drops, all while dipping left and right with wild changes in banking. Sadly, there are a few series that visit the track in present day, but it stays extremely active through club racing, driver coaching, and private test days. It has long been a favorite for both fans and drivers, and once you get onto the track, it'll be easy to see why.
Well, if you like off-road racing, this would be perfect. There's so much places that you can just make your own track, but they've made 3 tracks out here, and this is Big Willow on iRacing. Adam, you're very excited to see what's going to happen here today. What are we looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm extremely excited. It's a newer addition to iRacing. Willow Springs International Raceway Big Willow Racetrack is a 9-turn, 2.5 mile or 4.02 kilometer racetrack that has one of the best flows in all of sports car racing. Both classes will feel relatively at home here, with the Nissans carrying the most speed throughout, with their biggest challenges being the rolling hills and bumpy track of the Budweiser balcony. The Audis will be rolling through all the corners at a slower speed relative to the Nissans due to their lack of downforce, but the biggest challenge being maintaining speed and low tire temps through the sweeper and finding a way to roll through turn 9 with some sort of exit speed. Multiclass here? Well, we'll all find out together, but with a 14-second delta between the classes, the flowing nature of the track means that the racing line switches between right to left many times. This can lead to lots of opportunities for trouble throughout, but with a lot of dirt runoff, the risk is fairly low for damaging your car, but very high for losing time. It's going to be an epic race today, Greg.
Yeah, going to be absolutely fun around here. First time they've been around this track. Now, we'll look at the championship, and there are clinching scenarios in both championships today. We'll start with the GTPs. And while we're just watching one of the GTPs, lovely on board here, you see Timothy Reed, 41 points to the good. Remember, we're a week 10. So in theory, if he could pick up a victory today, we believe that would be clinching for Timothy Reed. Aaron Humphrey sits in second, and Aitor Sintez Galindo, been an up and down season, but he sits in third, with Youngblood trying to threaten there. And at the bottom, yet again, I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. The top half of the table is close. The bottom half of the top 10 is close. Look at that. Between 6th and 10th, there is only 7 points difference. There is clinching scenarios as well in the GTOs, Adam, for another Timothy.
Yeah, absolutely. Javier Del Olmo is going to be the one who might have an opportunity to clinch over Timothy Vaughn. 46 points separates them, so the win today over Timothy Vaughn, I think that's going to seal the deal for Javier Del Olmo as well. We'd have to take a look at the penny pinchers and the number crunchers to see whether or not that's actually the case. But after Del Olmo and Vaughn comes Plumley, and then from Plumley all the way back down to David B. Lehman is only a 15-point spread. Third place podium in the championship is up for grabs for anyone over the last 3 races of this season.
That's just what you want to see when it comes to a championship. Just come on, let's have the fun. Now, last week was a 60-minute race, but this is the 40-minute race. We're back to the normality, and of course, it is an open setup, so drivers have been running this, and there is no spare cars. Like I said, it's the old days. We're on an old track here, the 60s track, no spare car. You wouldn't have a spare car when you're there. There is a drive-through penalty at 17x and a disqualification at 25. I will say, Adam, I have done one broadcast out here. That final corner, turn 9, you can see a lot of cars and a lot of drivers go very wide there because they just want to get on the throttle too early.
Absolutely. It's so tempting to do so as we take a look at the number 1 machine going around here. That's Javier Del Olmo, our championship leader in the GTOs, currently with Ove Trengrade in pole on the GTOs, and Atreus Kundlis jumping over to the GTPs here to set pole position right now for the GTPs. But yeah, here we come through the sweeper. Really challenging in the GTOs to maintain any speed here. Then you hit that cone, and then you jump onto the throttle, and then it's really easy to accidentally end up in that pit lane and have to jump back over the cutout to try and get back on the track.
Yeah, some people have done that before, but not for Del Olmo. He takes the lead by 0.024. And look at the gap as well between him, Trengrade, and Noel Lumber with a 0.041. He takes that there. One thing, if you're not used to this track, where's your brake markers? It is all on touch and feel today. You did see a couple corners there with the cone just there with Pepe Fuentes as well. But apart from that, there is nothing out there for the drivers in terms of reference points. He comes across the line. He is going to try and set a decent lap. It's an invalid lap. Looks like Pepe had an off track somewhere.
Absolutely. So Kundla still up there with the provisional pole position in the GTPs. It's a pretty even split between GTPs and GTOs in this single split. The first time we have had a single split all season. Let me tell you, folks, you want to buy this racetrack. It is one of the most fun tracks to drive as a driver, even just a hot lap, as we're watching on board with Pepe Fuentes as he's trying to take this thing around. So challenging here to carry speed through all these turns, but it's all about that power management.
Look at the elevation change. He's down Munro Ridge. He's now into the wings leg, and he's going to set himself up for the sweeper. Look at the speed he carries in. He's keeping it flat. He's keeping it tight to the corner. He's gone a little bit too tight here. Then he goes out wide for turn 9. He's going to try everything he can to keep this on. A little kick up there of the dust. I don't think that's going to cause an off track. He comes across the line. It is going to be a 101. 882 puts him 4th. It is so close at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. We still have quite a few drivers who have yet to set lap times. Kaj Hansen, unfortunately, no valid lap for him. Aiden Kirks out there in the GTO trying to set his second lap. We have David Donaghy and Christian Rumpelnick who have yet to set their times in the GTOs. Then Don Runkle Jr., who I don't believe is going to have enough time. He might have enough time to set a single lap. But quite a few drivers have not set times, including Jason Clapper, who we expected. But then also Xavier Sanchez in the number 2 machine. He has not set his qualifying time, so he might not be confident in himself going out there. But you got to remember, as a GTP, that's a real challenge for you starting out in the back of the pack, and especially amongst a single split. We're going to have the widest skill gap we've had all season long this race.
Yeah, that is something we have to keep our eyes on here because like we saw Doug Cloud there. He gave a really nice example of what happens if you push too hard on that last corner. Brilliant work there by Rob to just get his webcam up, and that was a face that I think a lot of drivers have actually put themselves in. Now this is Devin Donaghy in the apologies for that. The number 27 comes around. He's got a good time out there. Remember, this is different. You've got so many drivers with so much different skills Adam was picking up on. You just have to be careful, not in the qualifying, but when it comes to the race, there is going to be those differences of speed. And a slower driver in a GTO could catch out one of those faster drivers in the GTPs.
Yeah, it's quite easy for them to do that. The slower drivers of the GTOs can be a little bit unpredictable on the racing lines, and that can cause issues when it comes to the GTPs coming around. So it's a real challenge for these drivers to try and kick their way around this track and try and avoid each other when it comes to the multi-class. Still some drivers out there trying to set times. Lance Simmons, Travis McQuiston, as well as Don Runkle Jr., who has yet to set his lap time, but I think he's parked it. And Devin Donaghy does qualify a little bit better, up to 16th.
Rumpelstiltskin looks like he will be the last. Rumpelnick, sorry, not Rumpelstiltskin. That's somebody else. It looked like that would be the last driver out there, and I don't think there's going to be anyone able to set a lap time with 9 seconds left. We'll go over the grid though, because it's Arturas Candelas who will take pole position in the GTPs today with Aaron Humphrey in second. That's crucial in the championship. Lars Olsen third with Pepe Huertas in fourth, and then Roman Bello fifth. Gianluca Gabbiani makes a return. He's in sixth, and Shady Amith comes up into seventh. Bjorn Ackerman will be eighth, and Mark Axelson ninth. And then Antonio Alvarez will be 10th to round out the first page. Into the second page, Felipe Savoy will take 11th. Nicholas Morelli will take 12th. Zach Stanley will be 13th. Albert Palahili will be 14th. Nathan Morgan, 15th. That's the last of the timed laps there for qualifying. Javier Sanchez will be 16th. Jason Clapper, 17th. And you see the rest of those names coming down. Clapper, Simon McQuiston, and Don Runkle Jr. What about the GTOs?
GTOs have Ove Trangarade on pole position, back on form for Trangarade, with Javier Del Olmo lining up next to him. Javier Del Olmo is now the fifth winningest most driver in the GTOs, just passing Trangarade last week. Michael Yankee is in third position with Tim Kennedy alongside him on row 2. Row 3 is Noah Lundberg with Sergey Grabun in sixth position, Timothy Vaughn 7th, and Jack David Spickett 8th. Then we got Doug Cloud and Emerson Gaudin rounding out your top 10. After that, it's going to be Mickey Friesen with Zoltan Deme next to him on row 6. Row 7's David B. Lehman and Ian Haycox. Linus Petkovikius joins us again on row 8 with Devin Donaghy next to him in 16th. Nils Hoyt in 17th position with Jamie Hamill-Smith, a bad qualifying for him, in 18th spot. Cam Porner in 19th position with Nick Lance in the 20th spot. And then comes Dominic Friels in the 21st position, and Mika Tupla, last of your qualifiers, in 22nd, with Christian Rumpelnick, Kaj Hansen, Chris Cornder, and Aiden Kirk rounding out your 26 Audis, 20 GTPs, 46 drivers for this single split race.
I was about to say, I think it's going to be 45 as there was no Javier Sanchez, but he's now finally connecting. He may not make the grid here. Now look at this, it's 65 Fahrenheit air temp, 97 Fahrenheit track temp. I will say, I don't think this is the equivalent of what it is like in California right now. For those in California and the Los Angeles area, please keep safe over the weekend. And I do know there is a tropical hurricane / tropical storm on its way. So we're not going to get the heat like we are in the real world here, but these track temps will provide very tough on a track like this, because all of a sudden everything needs to be smoother and everything needs to be dialed a little bit back.
Yeah, I do want to mention we're thinking about all of our Mexican drivers and friends as well, as they're dealing with the tropical storm. But yeah, it's a hot track temp out there today, 36 Celsius, 97 Fahrenheit, as you said. The wind not that much of a factor, but it's going to be slippery out there for these drivers. Not a lot of grip, especially with the elevation changes that we see, Craig. This is going to be a real challenge for these drivers to manage the traffic when they don't have a lot of grip on the track.
Yeah, and of course, when you look as well at the information, I believe there's not a lot of, it was a clean track as well, as we see the iRacing safety car, clean track conditions here, so not a lot of rubber down there, so the rubber they put for qualifying would help them. They go up the hill here, and this is one of those corners. If you've played video games, you may remember a few challenges around here when you come up to the Budweiser balcony. Most of the time on some cars, maybe not with these GTPs, you want to compromise the exit for this left to set yourself up for this right. And the pace car's not giving us the right line, but you do want to kind of late apex it. It's one of those late apex corners that there are a few on the track.
Yeah, absolutely. There are definitely a few late apexes around here. Learning the flow of this track is a real challenge. It's been a challenge for all drivers who have raced around here. We've seen Grand Tour and Top Gear come out here, as well as you said, Ford versus Ferrari. We've seen a ton of very famous filmings go on out here, and also some very fast tracks out here. The Rimac came out and did a couple of laps here a couple of years ago as well. So as we're seeing Arturas Kundelis leading the field to the grid, it's a real challenge to get this track right, but when you do, it's one of the best feelings in the world.
It's a beautiful feeling when you get this track linked up. It's almost like a drift driver getting ready. One more thing that has been filmed here is car test from Wheeler Dealers. If you know Wheeler Dealers, you know what that is like. They get ready to the sweeper, and it's going to see who can make the most here, who can turn this profit that they need. One last corner to go for Arturas. Remember, the pace car goes in pretty early, so he will control the field the moment they come by. There's a safety truck there for iRacing. We're not going to see that today, hopefully, but we wait for the pace car to take them around the slow start, 70 kilometers an hour they are going. That is the cone they are looking for some of these moves. Expect a lot of carnage after the first few laps. We're looking at 39 laps roughly, but the pace car goes in. Arturus is going to back them up a little bit. He's going to try and catch them sleeping. Laus Olsen is behind him. He'll make sure that he gets the best of it. A really good start there for Candelas. Not good for Aaron Humphrey. Straight away, Laus Olsen takes that advantage. He's going to take that P2 away, and straight away he goes in. Couple of us side by side in the middle of this field. But as they get around the Castro corner, it's all level, but what about those GTOs?
An immense wreck in the backfield of the GTOs. They're everywhere, through turn pit lane, into the pit lane wall. Tons of cars wrecking. It was a great start from Javi Del Olmo over Ove Trancre. I think people got into one another. That's going to wipe out a lot of the GTO field all the way back to 16th. We're seeing troubles in the GTOs.
And we're seeing troubles as well in the GTPs. It looks like Shady Ahmed. No, it's not Shady Ahmed, sorry. It was Nicholas Morelli and Antonio Alvarez having a little bit of a spin themselves. That is Cami's garage gets by, and he managed to avoid traffic, but he's still caught on the gravel.
Yeah, lots of people having trouble. Nathan Morgan as well in the GTPs having trouble. So we already have some GTPs who are joining in front of our GTO leaders right now. That's Ove Trancre trying to make his way by. Contact there with Del Olmo. And now we've seen that GTP getting wrecked out. Timothy Michael Yankee saying, you know what? I think you don't belong on the track right now.
Yeah, Michael Yankee, I don't think he had anywhere to go, really. There was either hit the brakes or hit the throttle, and I believe that's where he wanted to go. He will get by. More drivers going off as well. Bjorn Ackerman going wide. We knew this would be a battle of attrition for some of these drivers. Unfortunately, it has happened right away. Aaron Humphrey straight away. That is not what you should be expecting on the second lap of a race for the leaders, but that is Emerson Golden, who's a lap down already.
Absolutely, and he's trying to just take his normal line. Arturas Kundal is going to cut off a little bit. Now they have to follow him through. Here's our first look at what multiclass is going to look like. It's going to be tense here for these drivers. Laus Olsen trying to chase down Kundalis. He's had some bad consistency this season. He's trying to look for that maiden win.
Trying to look for it. You can also see how that GTO was struggling around Monroe Ridge to try and get that car tight. You can see Emerson does have some damage he's carrying up there, so he can not help it. Look at the lines they're taking, the dirty air hitting them. Almost a kick up at the gravel there for Laus Olsen. We're on board with him. We're going to see what he can do. Look at the speeds they're hitting, almost 300 kilometers an hour. Candelas gets the fastest lap, but now around. Look at the camera, a little tap at the gravel there. I think everyone's going to be using the track limit as much as they can today.
Yeah, nobody knows where to go with these GTOs right now. This is a learning experience for all of the GTP leaders. Arturas Kundalis making a good decision to make the wide sweep around the outside of Friesen. The Audis are going to be fairly much tight to the apex. You can see there, that was Bjorn Ackerman who's actually beached his GTP up here. Wow, it's intense stuff for all of these drivers right now as they're just trying to figure out the racetrack. But these GTPs are pretty well clear until they reach the GTO traffic. Once that hits, I think it's going to be complete chaos.
Yeah, they're going to hit it again. Of course, Laus there, the pucker cam is live and and he's having a little bit of a fun out there currently in P2. 6 seconds is the nearest GTO to these drivers, so expect to see them going up to the Budweiser balcony to hold on to this, and now it's just clear. These two have a 1 second gap over Aaron Humphrey. Behind them, down Juan Luca Gabbiani.
Connection issues for Gabbiani, unfortunately.
Yeah, connection issues. He did actually gain a position and lost a couple earlier in the lap. But yeah, it looks like he's having some issues out there.
Yeah, there's some issues going on across the globe right now, so we'll have to keep our eyes on whether that affects our drivers. Gabbiani, the first of our victims, but as you can see, the GTP is trying to navigate their way around another slow GTO back there as they're just trying to figure out their way through this traffic.
Now, of course, we all know that sometimes you don't want to go around the outside like Candelas has done, but sometimes you can't help it. And now Laus, he's got nowhere to go because that little bit just tightens up. That car's gone bye-bye. Off he goes. I think he may have had the little bit of the multi-class spook there behind. Very interesting, though. We just saw Aaron Humphrey and Pepe Fuertes and just trying to get by as well. 3 cars there as well.
Oh.
Roman Bellows there as well, almost hitting Linus Petrovikas.
Yeah, Pekavigius unfortunately didn't realize that Bello was coming through as well, and now here comes the real challenge, the sweeper. The Audis are not going to be super great at this. Now as they get off of turn 9, you can see how slow Fuentes was. This comes Bello. He's going to sneak to the inside. He might even be able to get Humphreys if he can keep his foot in it and take the inside line. He thinks better of it. Fuentes trying to go around the outside. That's a braking check. David Spigot on the apex holds up Humphrey. Here we go through the next couple of corners. Such a challenge for these drivers to make their way around the outside.
It is. Remember, that first corner, Castro corner, has got a little bit of camber there as well, so it's very tough to go for a late send because you've got to get into that camber as soon as you can as these 3 drivers just start battling and now have a little bit of a breather. There's no more GTOs for the next 4-ish seconds. They can just calm themselves down. In fact, there's the next one. You see it up ahead. These 3 are just, no, it's actually now 2. Well, yeah, it is 3 because Shady's nowhere near them. Good run by Fuentes. They're just trying to hold on here. Can Fuentes make this move? I don't think he can. Lars Olsen, though, is trying his best out there at the moment, but look at the traffic.
Nice job from Lars Olsen, cutting to the inside there of Jamie Hamilton and Tim Kennedy. Now on the back of Nathan Morgan, a slow GTP. Nathan Morgan's going to fade out. He's going to fade out a little bit more, almost running into the back of Laust. He's now stuck in behind Sergey Grabunas. He's going to sneak his way to the inside. That's 8th place in the GTOs that he's snuck his way by. Arturas Kundus has a 2-second gap, and he's just made a 3-wide pass into 2 around Michael Yankee and Noah Lundberg, who are battling for the 3rd position in the GTOs.
Yeah, all the GTOs are still bunched up, and you start to see, ooh, Candela's trying to get by. Yes, Ove Tringerade still in the lead, holding off Javier Del Olmo, and we've got another car up there. And that was, who was that?
This is Jason Clapper, and I think he might have blown his engine.
Well,
something's wrong with that car. He pulls off on turn 1. Let's listen to this thing on board.
And yeah, gone. That looks like it to, oh no, he's still, no, oh god, ooh. Yeah, he's kind of money shifted that, hasn't he?
Something's wrong with the car. It's definitely having trouble. He couldn't get the thing going. Possibly a pedal malfunction for him, but he definitely was on the brakes. But he's in the pits now, so unfortunately, just a bad day for Clapper.
Bad day for Clapper. Aaron Humphrey is trying to get on. Look at it. You've got battles here for 1 position and in the GTOs and 1 battle for positions in the GTP. Almost coming together. And that's Michael Yankee getting caught up by Gabbiani. And unfortunately, he's going to be losing out here. And Humphrey trying to get around Gabbiani. They're going to take it 3 wide at the rabbits here. Brilliant move by all of them. And Humphrey cannot make that position. There's still some more to go, though. They've got the leaders, Del Olmo and Tringerade. Can they both make this through? It's going to be tough. If Humphrey doesn't do this, Pepe Huertas is there. He gets it. And all of a sudden, the door is closed again. But Tringerade gets pushed wide by Huertas.
Yeah, absolutely. So Trangerade and Del Olmo now are just going to try and survive the rest of the GTPs cutting their way through. They got Roman Bello and Shady Ahmad next up on their list as we are riding on board with Pepe Fuentes as he's trying to chase down Aaron Humphrey. And Aaron Humphrey, rather, that we're riding on board with as he's trying to chase down Gianluca Gabbiani. It looks like Roman Bello and Shady Ahmad are going to be able to sneak their way by our leaders. It's going to be tight for Ove and for Javier. But you can see Aaron Humphrey carrying a little bit more speed through some of these corners. He's going to take an early apex that's going to spin him out towards the gravel, but he's able to hang on to it.
Going to try and hold on to it, but he can't get any slipstream here. There's a little bit of double slipstream there as Gabbiani holds off both of these drivers. And just look at how they are running this car at the moment. Humphrey doing all he can and then gets as much as he can before he gets on the brakes. So much concentration. These cars, usually this track is one that you want to brake first and then do your movement. With the amount of downforce these cars have at the moment, they're going in so hard. And then when the car says no more, they put on the brakes, and that is the way. But these 3 in their own little battle, the top 2 in their own little battle, the rest of the field all a little bit spread out there. Such is the nature of the GTPs right now.
Our GTO lead battle has become a battle of 4 cars, actually. Trangeray, Del Olmo, Lundberg, and Vaughn are now all packed together because of the traffic. We see a car off. That was Nathan Morgan, who's already had a couple of incidents this race, making contact. I can report that Devin Donaghy has gone around as well in the back of the GTO field.
Well, Adam, what is it between 4 GTOs, you and me, on a Camel broadcast? Oh, we're not saying put your money on some fireworks, but you see a group of cars at the front, anything can happen. Trengeray trying to pull away, but you're just seeing Lundberg trying to catch up to Del Olmo right now. In the traffic, You can expect Lumbo to get this, but Del Olmo, like we talked about, 5th on the all-time win list. He is not going to be an easy cookie to break right now. A GTP is going to get by at the last moment. That's Morelli. He's going to get by. Will this allow Lumbo to do anything? No. It may allow Vaughn to catch up behind them, though. But as you see on board, he is just in this following line. And look at the difference here. They brake before they turn, like I was saying, like compared to the GTPs who are going flat out and then braking.
Yeah, absolutely. And the GTOs very much have lots of different lines that they can take to be faster on this track because of the varying nature of the altitude changes, the changes in the grip on the track. We're riding on board now with Lundberg as he's trying to chase down Del Olmo. He's going to go dip 2 wheels off into the dirt. That's going to hold up Lance Simon, who's tucked in behind him, a GTP trying to make his way by. He's battling with Albert Palahi, who's tucked in behind him, and they're duking it out for 13th position, so they're going to want to get by and not lose too much time right now.
Yeah, everywhere you look, there is some battling. Lundberg just letting a GTP go by. You start to see that now he's struggling as another one goes around. What can Del Olmo do? Oh, Del Olmo's been compromised there. Oh my god, that GTP's going in the middle, in the left, in the right, everywhere you want, but that allows a really good run there. It looks like Trengray got compromised.
Yeah, Trengray got compromised a little bit. I think he went a little bit wide there, so this is allowing Del Olmo to take a look. He's not close enough, but this has brought back the battle for the lead back within 3/10. So intense stuff. Here comes Bjorn Ackerman tucked in behind these guys. He's going to go on the outside of the first turn, and our leader's off. Laust Olsen, Arturas Kundelis is off.
Kundelis is off, and he looks like he's hit the wall as well. He's got some big damage on the rear, so let's just go for a GSRT replay, see what happened there. And I think he's cut the grass. No, is that a miscommunication with a GT?
Yes.
It is. Loses it, and he's just a missile there. He's got no control. And the slow-mo here, it just goes another one there as well. Hello. Just where he wants to go. Nowhere else for him to go there.
That was Nathan Morgan who is out there in the grass. As we've talked about, he's had multiple issues, but look at this. That's Devin Donaghy who hits the brakes and the car just pushes on him. He can't stay out of the way of Arturas, and Arturas misses Morgan and gets all the way out to the wall. Ugh. And now he's got to off-road his big wing machine back.
Yeah, I don't think these things were designed to go off-road right now, but he's still P4. Such is the nature of the race, getting held up by rumbling in front there, but it's just one of those things, like I mentioned at the start of the race, Adam. Some of these drivers, the speed differences, because it is just one big split right now. Again, that's not a criticism of the slower drivers. It's just it's just that situation where some of these drivers will get caught out here. And again, there you see, well, you don't see, but Kundelis getting caught out there again at that final corner. So it is all happening at turn 9.
Yeah, absolutely. Pepe Fuentes now in 3rd position, promoted because of that off track from Arturas Kundelis. Honestly, this is one of those tracks where I think patience is going to pay off a lot for you, just because we don't know how these cars are going to behave, where the best places to pass are. This is learning experience for everybody, even for the drivers who took the Wednesday race. The Saturday split tends to be pretty spicy when it comes to speeds and when it comes to variations in the skill gap. So Romain Bello now tucked in behind Arturas Kundelis, the damaged Arturas Kundelis. Now, fortunately, except for that long front straightaway, there's not a lot of places where that lack of downforce is going to be impacting the top speed of Kundelis, but it could be impacting his handling.
Yeah, I've been just seeing that a couple of times there. It looks like he had a bit of an issue trying to get that car stopped. So we'll go and see what happens here at turn 9. For the 3rd lap in a row, he's got traffic holding on here at turn 9. And he wants to go around the outside, and the GTOs are just not getting there as fast as the GT, as much as he wants to. But he does, that allows him to get by. I'm really curious in terms of top speed. He's 1.1 ahead of Bello. He only loses a 10th out of slipstream. That may not be as bad as we thought. That straight is long. It's not as long as you think it is.
Yeah, nice battle in 8th position between GTOs between Tim Kennedy and Michael Janke as well. Janke trying to recover from his bad start. He's got Arturas Kundelis tucked in behind him. Kundelis just not having luck with the traffic, to say the least. Janke trying to make a move on Kennedy, can't do so as they go up over the top of this hill. Such an amazing race course with all the flowing moves, but Bello is tucked in right behind Kundelis now as well. Kundelis is going to try and go around the outside of Janke. Janke's going to give him the room to do so. He's going to cut off Janke a little bit from this crest. It definitely gets you airborne in the GTOs as they go around there. This is going to free Bello up. Bello might not catch Kundalus before he turns in for the sweeper. Can't do so. Shady Ahmad as well with high speed. They're going to catch up to Kundalus and possibly pass him on the straightaway here.
Yeah, Shady Ahmad's a driver we don't see a lot of in the broadcast splits at the moment because the race split, so we don't see him a lot of the time, but a driver who has been very dominant in that GTP in the lower split, so you get to see what happens. Bello does get by Candelas, and Candelas is struggling there. Shady will be a challenge for him because of that difference. It is going to be, in some respect, a case of let's just wait and see what happens, because there's no need to push it as well. There are battles everywhere we look. This is Del Olmo hanging on to the back of Ove Trengarade. He had the fastest lap last time by. They are trying to break away from Lundberg and Timothy Vaughan. It's not working at the moment. Traffic giveth, traffic taketh away.
Yeah, and Vaughn's actually the one who's got a decent run on Lindbergh. I think he might be a little bit quicker. It might actually benefit Lindbergh to let Vaughn go and possibly get them both dragged back up to Trengarade. Del Olmo contact from behind from Roman Bello, who did not expect Vaughn to be drifting to the outside of the track there. That allows Kundalus to sneak right by.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the case. I'm not expecting the drift. Probably not expecting that was some of the lines that some of the GTOs are taking. I don't see any serious damage there, but it did cost him a position that allows Shady Ahmed to try and force his way. But side by side there, that's Javier Sanchez having a little battle with Felipe Savio there. They've been battling throughout the race. Xavier's plus 13 after starting at the back of the field with no qualifying time.
Devin Donaghy is tangled up once again with a GTP, this time with Albert Palahi, and he's actually ended up impaled in the barriers on the outside of the track. So unfortunately, that's the end of Donaghy's day.
Well, this is why they've got a lot of sandbanks here as well. That's the safety, because you've got so much runoff here. Having a barrier probably does not help you, so let's use what we've got. Let's use the terrain to slow cars down. Remember, it is an old school track, so what was safety standards back in the 50s? Not a lot. Javier Sanchez using the traffic to his advantage, though, getting a second and a half.
Contact between Javier Del Olmo and Ove Trengarade. That was dangerous stuff. Trangarade's pushed offline here around the outside of the sweeper. He's going to be able to get back online for the straightaway, but Del Olmo took every opportunity he possibly could to stick his nose in there around the sweeper once the GTP cut through and cut off his line.
I think that's what they call the warning shot. Javier is showing that he is going to go for any gap. I think he understands the track now. He's starting to just feel one with the track, and it's what Javier does. And of course, managing to save the car after a moment like that is peak Javier Del Olmo. He keeps it safe, keeps it steady, drifts the car a little bit, and it does allow them to keep on battling. And even with that, they still have over a second gap between Lundberg and Vaughan, so they are using this to their advantage. But you can see they're almost getting a little bit twitching right now. I think he's finding a place to make a move.
I think he's trying to get Ove Trengarade to make a mistake, and so far Ove has not made a mistake. That little bit of contact pushed Ove Trengarade offline, and through the sweeper there's no real way to recover that. Like our report, Travis McQuiston is having had some damage. He made contact with I believe it was Tim Kennedy and ended up off track, but he's now back on track. Quite a few GTPs making risky moves, like Nicholas Morelli around the outside of our leaders in the GTOs. He's going to go off track. That's going to allow, I believe that was Kaj Hansen to go by. But here we go, side by side. Javier Del Olmo with the pass on Ove Trengarade into turn one.
Trengarade just decided it was not worth the hassle. Let's see what I can do behind you now, Javier. You've been putting your nose where it does not belong. I'm going to put my nose where it does not belong, said Ove. And he's going to try and get this. Remember, Ove does not have a podium this season. I'm not going to say the W word, because last time we talked about that at Watkins Glen, he did get crashed out, but he is pushing with 21 minutes left to go. He knows what he needs. That's a lapped GTO in front of them. We don't say that a lot, but that is Dominic Trellis in front of them. And this allows Lundberg and Vaughan to come back up. 4 GTOs went to the mountain. Only one's going to finish in the lead.
Absolutely, and it may be decided by the traffic. Albert Palahi is trying to cut his way through. He's in a battle with Max Axelson for the 11th position in the GTPs, and they're going to go around the outside of our leaders in the sweeper. But look at this, a good run from Ove Trangerade onto the front straightaway. This could be side-by-side into turn 1.
Let's just keep our eyes on this side-by-side. It could be. It's going to have to be a move from Trangerade. If he wants it, he backs out of it, decides against it, and nothing behind them with Lundberg and Vaughn trying to pick his moment there. You don't really want to send it into the Castro corner, because remember, that camber can throw you off there, and you could be losing a lot of time. And last thing these guys want is to bring more cars into this mix. Bjorn Ackerman's going to try and get by them, and he may have to go around both of them, and yes, he will. And that might hold up Javier Del Olmo. Adam, I think you might be right. Traffic may decide what happens in this battle.
Absolutely, and they're going to have to be very careful with these GTPs. We've had a lot of side-by-side contact moments due to that 14-second delta. We're talking 25, 28 miles an hour difference between these classes right now.
That's just kind of mind-blowing. That's like the legal speed you should be driving in a town in the UK. So that just gives you an idea when you think about that. That's as fast as Usain Bolt can run 100 meters in terms of top speed. That is the difference we're talking about here. That's quite a lot. But Del Olmo does manage to hold on to this, and you can start to see the fourth car back again. That is Lance Simon behind them, as well as he may split them 2 by 2. But there's Laus Olsen, and I'm knocking on wood here, Adam. There is Laus Olsen in the lead.
Yeah, he's got a 4.5-second lead over Aaron Humphrey. Humphrey's been quick today. Laus Olsen just needs to play his cards right, needs to be very, very patient with the GTOs. I can report Shady Ahmad has just decided to take it with high speed into the pits, so he's going to take a penalty now. But quite a few drivers, yeah, I mean, Laus is going to have some work to do to keep this lead, I think.
Well, it's not over until it's over. He only has, think about it, 168 races on the broadcast, just 4 victories for Laus Olsen. And again, I'm knocking on wood because we know how the bad luck for Laus the last couple of seasons has been. Aaron Humphrey's right there, though. He does have a little, looks like, no, it's just me. It's the trick of the eye deceiving me. He's going to get past the 4, but I thought he had damage. He doesn't. Around the outside of the first 2, he goes to the inside of 1, and then he's hesitant and goes around the outside for the other. That was pretty calm and collected, though.
Take notes, everybody. That is absolutely how you pass the GTOs through that corner. As we can see another GTP going off there. That's Pepe Fuentes trying to catch up to Aaron Humphrey behind. But that's the line that the GTOs are taking to be quickest. And so you're going to have to make those cuts and those bobs and weaves through turn 9 and through the sweeper in order to make that work. It's you can go clean around the outside through turn 1, but through Castle Corner, but yeah, through the sweeper and turn 9, you're going to have to do some cutting and weaving.
Well, that gap has now gone down to 2 seconds after Laus Olsen getting traffic himself, and there they are. Lovely camera shot there, Dougie, as they come down the hill. This is almost like an F1 boom camera here. Again, going up the Munro Ridge, there you go, and you start to see the time's going to be interesting, because I'm not sure what traffic they've got ahead of them. There is some lap GTP ahead, and then a couple lap GTO. That's kind of not what Laus wants to see right now, because you can get past the GTOs with no problem. What are the GTPs going to do?
One of the other things about this racetrack is that it's really hard to pay any attention to your rearview mirror because of all the work that you're doing just to try and stay on track and be fast with all these sweeps. So Laus Olsen losing another 2 seconds to Aaron Humphrey last lap alone. Aaron Humphrey well within a second now.
Yep, here he goes, and Laus is calm. I would not be calm if that was me. I'd show a little bit of frustration in my face, but the pucker cam still pushing on, and it looks like he had a little bit of a slide there through the first part of the Budweiser balcony. Down the hill he goes. He's losing time to Aaron. There is a car 3 seconds ahead of them. It might be a GTP 2 seconds ahead of him. Just see it up there as well. He's got to be calm now. He realizes this is where, if you're in multi-class racing, take the numbers down, take the numbers on the delta, and you realize, okay, I've got a chance of catching this car now. Can I catch him now, or am I going to have to wait? He's going to have to wait around the outside late. He could make a mistake.
And I can report Laus Olsen has some significant left front aerodynamic damage. So I think he's slow on the straights, which is why Aaron Humphrey, one of the reasons why Aaron Humphrey has been catching. And Aaron Humphrey catching very quickly, going to look to the inside on turn 1 and think better of it. Laus is going to hang on for this lap, but I think it's all just a matter of time if Humphrey's patient.
Now, where did he pick that damage up? We'll have to look at it. We're on the best camera of them all. Through the keyhole, who lives in a GTP like this? Well, it's Aaron Humphrey, but it's Laus Olsen's GTP, and he's trying to hold on. He needs to let the traffic work with him, but with Niels having a little bit of a moment at the top of the Budweiser balcony, not going to happen this time. Now, I thought at the start of the race that the balcony would be the danger corner here. It has not provided that for the lap traffic. It's actually been elsewhere, but you start to see the frustration. He managed to get around that GTO. Aaron gets a little bit tangled up as well. A second up the road, though, is Cam Horse and Christian Rummelning.
Yeah, and they're not battling for position. Cam's a lap down to Christian, who's in 13th. Laus very slow off of turn 9. Here comes Humphrey right on the back of him. He's going to have to back off a little bit because the hitbox for the GTP is a little bit wider than the wing is, but he's going to dive to the inside and comes to the inside there of Christian Rumpelnick. Rumpelnick gives him the room, but that was almost a wreck.
I thought that was going to be a wreck from Roman. I thought, was he going to try and use a pick move there on Christian? Did not have to, but with all this battling and all those little hesitations, that allows Pepe Fuentes to come up right behind now. Laus is in a little bit of a survival battle right now. Be curious to see where he picked that damage up. I'm going to have to look back. But Fuentes right behind them now, the top 3.
Oh, Timothy Vaughn's around and he's been hit! It's a huge incident between Timothy Vaughn and Nicholas Morelli, who hits him on the front straightaway. This was a bad incident.
Oh, we're going to have to look at this because Timothy Vaughn, he looks like he goes around and then, yeah, he absolutely cannot get it. I don't understand what happened to Timothy here. Let's just
what happens here? He gets scared. He got spooked by that GTP coming through, gets off into the gravel, and then he tries to recover, and he absolutely annihilates the GTPs coming through.
Oh, no. From what to do for multiclass traffic to what not to do on iRacing. Do you think because of that hill he didn't realize he was that far over? That could be, because you see there's a little bit of a ridge there, but
I don't know. That's hard to defend.
It's hard to defend. It's such a shame for Timothy Vaughan. It had absolutely changed the complexion of that GTO battle, because it's now a 3-car battle at the front, and another car going wide. That's the number 7.
That's Pepe Fuentes, who was past Laus Olsen. Laus, with his damage going very slowly, had lost second position, but Pepe Fuentes off track as well.
We are in the witching hour, as they say. Yeah. This is where now, with 13 minutes left to go, anything can happen. Fuentes is going to try this around the outside. This is going to be very tight to do. I don't think Laus is going to have any legs to stand on to defend this. He does not. That GTP of Jamie Hamill-Smith there as well. And Laus has to make a reaction move there. He did not know where to go. And unfortunately, that is another position done. Pepe loses the position, gains the position. Such is the damage for Laus Olsen there.
Yeah, some big drama going on in the chat. I was just listening to it there. But as these drivers continue going, the tempers are getting hot underneath the collars as we watch Noah Lundberg right on the back of Ove Trangrade. In the last half of the latter portions of this race, Lundberg has maintained some of his tires, is actually on the attack against Ove.
Yeah, we got to remember, 95 Fahrenheit, 35 Celsius is that track temp. It's not changed at all. So it's kept that temperature as well. And you start to see that Lundberg could be the one that has looked after these tires better. Now, they're not going to kill a set of tires in 40 minutes, but just those track temps will cause issues. So with 12 minutes left to go, the man that looks very well good to set up there for position. I've lost my English there. Lundberg is the man that looks like he could do this. All of a sudden, Javier Del Olmo looks human.
Yeah, Javier Del Olmo does look human, and so is Ove Trangrade. I think Lundberg's faster than both of them, to be honest with you, and I think he's got a really good opportunity at taking a win here if he could be patient and wait for the mistakes and wait for the traffic, because traffic has been causing problems. So if he can navigate his way through the traffic better than the guys ahead of him, he might have some passes on his hands.
Now, I'm trying to do my thinking. I believe I did see that Lundberg did actually take a win in one of the midweek races. So He has the pace. Did not have the best starts in this race as well, though, starting 5th, having to work his way up to 3rd. However, that Band of Brothers car is trying to push on, and there goes Bjorn Ackerman by them, and then the leader, Aaron Humphrey, will be behind as well. Goes to the inside, goes to the outside, looking now for the outside, but here comes Aaron Humphrey getting a little bit tangled up as well. But a 7-second lead to the rest of the field, Aaron can afford to have those moments.
Absolutely, Aaron can afford to have those moments. He can afford to be patient, and he's choosing to do so. Ove Trangarade to the inside of Javier Del Olmo into turn 1. This is going to hold them both up. This is going to give an opportunity to Lundberg, who looks to the inside as well of Del Olmo into turn 1. He thinks better of that, but this pushes Del Olmo wide. These guys duking out. Oh, Lundberg with the miss shift.
Oh, the miss shift there from Lundberg, and that's not going to be very good because all that hard work is just gone. Now Solson, Henry Quetted, and Lance Simon not racing them on a different lap just goes by as well, and then there's Lance Solson finally, and he gets held up because of that speed issue there for Lance with the aero. It means that Lundberg is going to lose more time. It's such a shame. In all due fairness though, he does not have a victory in the series, and he's had 8 races. He hasn't even had a podium.
Yeah, Lundberg's been fairly quick. He's been top 5 material over the last couple of weeks. He just has had some bad consistency in that regard. And we see this happen a lot, that the trend tends to be drivers are, 15th, 10th place over the course of a season. Then they get up into top 5s, but they can't consistently hit those finishes. But then they become more consistent in the top 5 and start battling for the win. Javier Del Olmo right on the back of Ove Trangarade. He's going to go for a move, lead of the GTOs. Here we go again.
Here we go again. They're going to take the side-by-side into Castro Corner, and they may have to go side-by-side into the Rabbit's Ear. Good defending there from Trangarade. He sets up the inside. They almost touch. Some fantastic car control from Trangarade, and now side-by-side out of the Rabbit's Ear, and they're going to try and hit this now. Side-by-side again as they start their way up. Has Del Olmo done this? He has not. And he gets this to Trangarade. He's gone too hard. Onto the top of the balcony they go, and they are still side by side for the lead.
Let's go. Both boys side by side. Oh, Del Olmo goes a little bit too wide. That's going to give the opportunity to Trangarade. Kundelis got majorly held up here. Roman Bellows tucked in behind him. Xavier Sanchez trying to go for a mover on the outside of Bello. It switches over to the inside. They're going to go over the hill side by side. Xavier Sanchez able to hang on to it and get past Bello. He's now going to try and streak by the leaders of the GTOs.
Trying to get by, and now he needs to hope that he can get by with no problem. Can Bello get by with no problem? He does. When we look at the battle for the lead, and we look at the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th in the GTP. But now, is this the run that Del Olmo needs? Because all of a sudden, he may have this, but with that side-by-side, hello, Noel. Welcome back to the front of the field. And here he's going to go for a side. He is not going to make it. He does not have the commitment under the braking. Del Olmo will have to yield and fight again with 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, Del Olmo, though, he took that inside line, which slows him up in turn 1. That allows him to close up to Trangarade. That allows Trangarade to run away a little bit, but Trangarade took a little bit of a compromised line through 1 as well. This both allows Lundberg to catch back up. Lundberg, he lost about 2 minutes of time being part of that battle. He might have been able to take an opportunistic move when they were side by side, but he's back in it now, full on.
Yeah, back in it, and Javier Sanchez lost that position, but a move there with the lap traffic allows him to get past Bello once again as they go over Monroe's Ridge, and it's not a happy birthday for Roman Bello. It is more of a issue, and now Sanchez getting held up by Nathan Morgan, and almost comes together, manages to hold on. It is back and forth for 5th position. I call it the most important position on iRacing, and you want to know why? Because that's where stats are kept.
Absolutely. So Xavier Sanchez able to make it by. He's going to try and catch up to Arturas Kundelis, and he's got Laust Olsen 10 seconds up the road with 7 minutes to go. I don't know if that's possible even with Laust damage, but I got to tell you, Xavier Sanchez is up 15 spots from a starting position. He started 20th in this race, did not qualify.
Did not qualify. I don't even think he was in the session until the very last moment, so he was there for the formation lap, and he's done a fantastic job, a great drive through the field. And here he is in 5th position, battling on. Down the hill he goes. He may catch up to Kundelis, who does have that damage, remember, after being on Mr. and going sideways into a barrier on the exit of turn 9. But it's going to be tough with 6.5 minutes left. They're looking at another, 6 laps, 5, 6 laps maybe, we've also got to keep our eyes as well on that GTO battle because Del Olmo, Lundberg, and Trengerade, they are still battling themselves.
Yeah, they're still line of astern right now, all within 1 second of one another. Del Olmo, Ove Trengerade's looking a little weak right now. He's having a lot of understeer issues, and Del Olmo's looking underneath his car on the turn-ins a lot right now. You can see just how close they are up ahead. Del Olmo taking a shallow line into the sweeper. He's going to try and late apex here to get onto the front straightaway. Oh, my Trengerade clips the inside. He got a little bit too close to the inside there. That's going to put them side by side. Shady Ahmad's got to find his way through. They separate to let him go. I think Trengerade's not going to be able to challenge through one. He can't. Del Olmo into the lead.
Del Olmo takes the lead again, and that's just a moment there. You try to use those curves, and he goes wide out here at the Castro corner into the rabbits here. All of a sudden, Lundberg is looking. There is a gap there, and he almost went for it, but he decides against it with 5.5 minutes to go. All of a sudden, Trengerade cannot look back and forward for P1. He's having to look behind at P3 because Lundberg is threatening right now and almost tapping the back there, and that's going to hold up Lundberg.
Lundberg's got to get by. He's got to make this work right now.
Well,
decent battle as well for 5th and 6th, for 6th and 7th between Jamie Hamill-Smith and Jack David Spickett. And don't blink. Blink and you'll miss it. But Aaron Humphrey and Pepe Fuentes are very close together, within 1.5 seconds of one another, and that's close enough for a challenge in the GTPs as well.
Yeah, let's keep our eyes as well. We look at the lap times out as well. 2 seconds lost by Humphrey last time out. And Pepe is starting to push, but he's just getting held up the moment we started talking about him with lap traffic. And in front of these two in a moment will be the lead GTO battle. Now, if they're going battling hellbent for leather at the front of the field, and they're not, don't worry, that could be an issue there for Aaron Humphrey. But right now, if he comes to the start-finish straight, he realizes what's ahead. He's probably working out his plans right now as Javier Sanchez finally catches up to Arturas Candelas.
Absolutely. So Javier Sanchez finally able to catch up to the number 5. He's going to have a good opportunity to sneak his way into 4th position here, with Kundelis being weak in the straights a little bit. So, yeah, Sanchez does have the overspeed, but he might have to wait another lap because Kundelis defending to the inside.
Yeah, it also looks like he's got some damage as well to Sanchez. I'm not sure where he picked that up, but he does have some wing damage himself. So, really interesting to see the battle of attrition between two broken cars here.
Both of our lead groups are together, and it's very intense. Fuentes has been able to get right up to the back of Humphreys.
Oh, we got to look at this. We got to look at this. 1 and 2 in the GTP. 1 and 2 and 3 in the GTOs. And Fuentes trying to look for it, but he blocks himself there. A pick move does not work. He picks himself. Now a Humphrey gets the better line, but it looks like he's gone very wide. There's more cars on the exit here of the final corner, and he may be compromised. Fuentes has a very better line, but it looks like he won't be able to catch up to it at the moment. Goes back into the single file. More lap traffic up ahead. And you also see behind with the GTO leaders, they've got to go through more traffic as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been separated a little bit because of this GTP traffic, but Fuentes is in the best position he's been all day. This is going to be a landmark win for Fuentes if he can get it over Humphrey, but Humphrey doesn't want to let it go either. Neither of them have won this season.
Neither has won, and one person really wants a victory, and you can see how much it would mean to them, even at Willow Springs. Who's going to be the first person to take a victory at Willow Springs on a broadcast? Is it Fuentes? Is it Humphrey? In the back of the field, we see they're almost starting to pull away from Trengerade, but we'll keep eyes on that later, because this gap's now with 2.5 minutes left in the race. It's all very tight. I believe when they cross the line. Oh, wow, when they cross the line, there's going to be 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go for these two as Fuentes. Humphrey's going to get compromised on exit. This is the opportunity Fuentes has been looking for. He's going to look to the outside of turn 1. Here they go across the stripe. It's going to be Fuentes leading across the stripe. Here they go to turn 1. Aaron Humphrey's going to take it deep. Fuentes can't get to the apex. He goes into the gravel. He can't keep it going. It's still Humphrey in the lead.
Cam Porter there, get past Cam Porter. Camber causing issues once again for drivers, and Fuentes could not get that great attack there from Humphrey, but the position's still there, almost looking for a late braking there is Fuentes. He is still looking for this move. Every door that's open, he's going to try and take it. Even if it's a little side door, he will try and take it. Another lap car in front, that is Rumblenik. Can he get past this? Humphreys maybe a little bit compromised here, but that will compromise Fuentes as well. They come to the Monroe Bridge, and this compromises Fuentes.
Very close stuff. Fuentes still able to hang on within about half a second of Humphrey. They're going to come to the white flag this time around. It's actually going to be tight. It's going to be tight to whether it's a white flag, but Humphrey looks slow on the straight. Fuentes looking from the outside, can't make it work. That's going to take Humphrey deep into the final corner, but he's going to keep the power down. I believe we're going to have 2 laps to go.
Yep, it looks like it's going to be 2 laps to go. There's also other battling as well. Then they almost come together. That's going to be a brave move from Pepe Fuentes to the inside. He makes that move stick. And at the right time, on the penultimate lap, howdy, my friend. You are leading the race.
It's not over yet, though. They've still got traffic to deal with. Linus Pekavicius and Nick Lance are trying to battle each other for the 8th position. Lance tries to look to the inside there, but he gets cut off by Fuentes. Fuentes has to be absolutely ruthless, mercenary right now, trying to cut through this traffic. He's slow, though. Humphrey and Fuentes drifting up to the top of the track. Humphrey loses some time, but Fuentes can't get past Pekavicius.
That may be a blessing that we can't get past Linus, but he's managed to get past him now, and Humphrey gets a little bit compromised himself. There's another GTO up ahead. That is Dominic Freles. He's got to be careful with where this car is going. Can he get round here? Yes. Now keep your eyes on where Humphrey is. Humphrey will have to wait. He has to make a decision. Late decision. Takes to the inside. Gets it. He is fine. It's going to be white flag. A little cap of the curve there, and all of a sudden Humphrey is out of slipstream with that, and look at Fuentes. He needs as many cars in front of him as he can.
Yeah, Fuentes able to cut through, and now Humphrey's going to get held up behind Jamie Hamel-Smith and Jack David Spickett, who are battling side by side for the 6th position in the GTOs. I don't think Humphrey has it unless Fuentes gets held up again. It's 1.5 seconds to Humphrey, and he's slow in the straights.
It's 1.5 and it's going. There's another car between them, and this is bookmarking. 4 seconds up the road is Ian Haycox. Pepe will get to him around the sweeper and the turn 9. That may be crucial. If he gets held up, that 1.6 second gap is going to dissipate. We see now, final time over the Munro Ridge. He comes to the wings leg. He's got this under control. He's flashing his lights. He's telling him, I'm winning the race. Do you want me to get out of the way? He gets out of the way. That's the last car he has to go through. All he needs to do is survive. There's the cone of luck. There's the cone of turning. And for the first time, Pepe Fuentes is a winner on the Camel GT broadcast.
Aaron Humphrey sneaks through into 2nd position. In the GTOs, they're just now coming through the Budweiser balcony right now, and it's still Javier Del over Ove Trangrade, Noah Lundberg, with Laust Olsen sweeping around the final turn to take 3rd position. Well held for Laust after the troubles he had and the damage he had, absolutely. But my goodness, tough stuff here. Here comes Del Olmo, though, coming into the sweeper for the final time, and he's got an 1/8 of a second over Ove Trangrade.
Yeah, but Trangaré just had a little bit of a slide there, but Lundberg unable to capitalize on it as well. By the way, Javier Sanchez finishing in 4th position there, 16 places made. But Trangaré's going to hold on to this, but Lundberg is going to have a little bit of a late surge here. Has he run out of fuel? Trangaré struggling here. Trangaré, that's a very interesting way to finish the race, but he makes it in P2. That could have been a little bit interesting at the end there. Lundberg, though, but gets P3.
It's worth mentioning, Craig, that Javier Del Olmo, with Timothy Vaughn having that wreck early on, I believe Javier Del Olmo may have clinched the championship with this win.
Well, we will try and get the numbers down in a minute, so we're going to take a well-earned break, and we'll be back with the results and some interviews. So do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. Well, some of the drivers called this the American Phillip Island, and I believe it delivered just like Phillip Island. Howdy, my friend there. Welcome to the winner's enclosure, Pepe Fuentes. Third race on the broadcast, first victory on a brand new track as well. Aaron Humphrey just got caught out there by the traffic and he finishes in second. And Lars Olsen with a great recovery after all that damage in third position. Javier Sanchez made up 16 places to finish in fourth. And Arturo Candelas also had some damage and he has to settle for fifth. Roman Bello will be sixth and Antonio Alvarez will be seventh. Felipe Savoy will be eighth. And yes, that is the last of the cars on the lead lap. Albert Bahali will be in ninth. Mark Axelson will be in 10th. Lance Simon also a lap down in 11th, and Shady Ahmed is a lap down in 12th. And then Bjorn Ackerman will be 2 laps down in 13th. And then we've got the junkyard, unfortunately, drivers having some moments out there. Travis McQuiston, 14th. Nicholas Morelli, 15th. Nathan Morgan, 16th. Zach Stanley will be 17th. Gianluca Gabbiani will be 18th. Jason Clapper, 19th. Don Ronkel Jr. will be 20th. We do have just one more. No, that is all of them. I beg your pardon. We had an even 20. So the GTOs are here now.
Yeah, GTOs. Javier Del Olmo with a provisional championship win. I believe we still have a little bit of drop weeks to calculate, but based upon the finish of Timothy Vaughn compared to Del Olmo, we believe that Del Olmo has clinched the championship. We'll go into next week and find out. Ove Trangrade comes home in second position after not being able to catch Javier Del Olmo in the closing laps. Noel Lundberg in the third position, unfortunately not able to pass Trangrade or Del Olmo, even though he had a significant pace over the two of them. Sergey Grabun, we didn't talk about him much, but he came home in a solid fourth position, able to best Ian Haycox, who finished 1 lap down of our leaders. Jamie Hamill-Smith, the biggest mover today, showing why his consistency over the course of the Camel seasons has proven good for him, up 12 positions. Jack David Spickett battled with Linus Pekavicius and Nick Lance over the course of the race. They finished 7th, 8th, and 9th, with Kirsten Rumpelnick rounding out your top 10. Nils Hoyt finished in 11th position over Michael Yankee, who had some trouble himself over the course of this race. Mickey Friesen finished in the 13th position with Mika Tupula in 14th and Emerson Gaudin in 15th position. Doug Cloud got punted a couple of times, but still managed to finish only 2 laps down in 16th position. And then comes our own personal junkyard with Cam Porter, who managed to finish the race, as well as Dominic Friels. But then Timothy Vaughn, Tim Kennedy, as well as Devin Donaghy, Chris Cordner, Kash Hansen, David B. Lehman, Zoltan Deme, and Aiden Kirk, all wrecking out, and most of them in that opening lap incident.
We had that big incident in the GTOs, but we had a survival race in the GTPs. Lars Olsen is with us. He finished in P3. Now, Lars, I did see you had a little bit of damage there. I could not pick it up, but what happened to cause that damage on the front there?
Oh, I think my mind strayed a little away and I missed a brake marker and got an off track in the S's and bent the got some aero damage as a result and lost a lot of top speed. So I think I threw it away there.
Such a shame. A few drivers also did throw it away, to be fair. This has been the first time we've been on the track, and I know that you've also done a couple races earlier in the week. So how has it been for multi-class? Because you brought up one thing that I mentioned earlier. There's no braking board, so you've got to find your own braking reference points as well. And then you've got that with traffic. So what was it like with the multi-class traffic around here today?
Most of it is quite okay, but there are some difficult spots. The Nissans has so much aero, so we can go around the outside in some of the fast corners, and that's quite easy. But then the last corner, you really, if you try to go outside, you run out of track, and going for the inside, you will collide with the GTO, taking the apex. So the last corner is quite difficult, and then you lose a lot of time in the SS. I haven't found out how to minimize that, so the SS is, for me, it's just follow and lose time. But otherwise, it was quite fine.
I was going to say, yeah, it's a track that I think a lot of drivers are still learning. It's the first time that we've driven it in the broadcast. But of course, we go from here to Red Bull Ring. Now, to me, on paper, it kind of feels the same when it comes to those high speed differences. Is that a track that you're going to feel more at home? Well, you're definitely going to feel more at home because it's a brand new track, but you know what I mean? Do you feel a little bit more comfortable with Red Bull Ring?
Yeah, I've always been quite good at the Red Bull Ring, I think. So I'm looking forward to that one. Traffic-wise, there can be some difficulties too. So you have to be on your toes and know when to time it correctly, so you can get the pass on without losing too much time.
Yeah, and that's the name of the game as well with the multi-class traffic. It's been great hearing from you, Laos. Our cameraman says that he's your biggest fan. He loves seeing you drive around, and I believe he does try to get... I don't think it's biased when we see a lot of you on the track, but do you have any shout-outs before we let you go for the evening?
Yeah, thank you to you guys for the great broadcast you do, and say hi to your cameraman from me. And then a thank you to the community. It's a great place to race.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch, and it's always fun just to hang out and start chatting after races with the drivers there. Laus Olsen finishes in P3 in the GTPs, and we go from a man who finished at the front of the GTPs to a man who finished near the back of the GTOs. Adam is with the unfortunate Cam Porter.
Yeah, unfortunate Cam Porter is right today. I was gonna, usually we ask you how your race went, Cam, but let's just start with how the final corner before the green flag go.
It went poorly. Something happened in front of me. I think Tim Kennedy had a problem with his throttle, maybe a technical glitch or something, and then that caused a big crash. And then someone was knocked into my path. I couldn't avoid them. I thought I had clear track. All of a sudden, there was a car zooming in from the side. So please hold your brakes if you wreck. I understand, in the heat of the moment, it doesn't necessarily occur to you all the time. I'm guilty of that too. But yeah, just a tough start. I had 8 minutes of repairs. I got a meatball, so I had to pit, and I towed. Once I got back on the track, though, I was impressed. At least around me, the GTP drivers were, making good decisions and communicating to me where they were going to pass me. So it was easy for me to see where they were going to try to pass. So I would stay to one side and let them go. So other than that first lap kerfuffle, I had an okay race today. I felt like I could have kept up with maybe got it in the top 10. If I was had a little bit of luck, just because I was keeping up with that the guys that were in 10th and 11th. I was several laps down, obviously, but yeah, maybe could have been better for me today.
Yeah, with that unfortunate moment. But next week we head out to Red Bull Ring, which is very different. A very different feel for the Audis. A lot more stop-start around there. But how does that race go for you? And what are your thoughts heading into the next round?
I don't remember the last time we raced Red Bull Ring, if we have ever in Camel. It's a relatively new track. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's been over a year or so, hasn't it? Anyway, looking forward to that track. I enjoy driving that track, and should provide some good racing. Lots of racing room there. Good passing opportunities.
Well, Cam, sorry about your race today, but is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Just a shout out to the Nissan drivers for communicating to me where they're going to go and making it easy for me to let them through.
That was Cam Porter, who finished towards the back of the pack today, down in the 31st position overall. And that's going to wrap up our interviews. Back to you, Craig.
Thank you very much, Adam. Yeah, that's going to wrap it up for the day. So, time to say goodbye, and a big thanks to the team today with Adam, Robert, and Dougie. So make sure to check out our social medias, our website and merchandise stores. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And like Jake used to say, don't forget to check out June's Bandcamp as well. On the screen right now is a list of our upcoming races. The next one for the Camel, there it is. Well, that's today's, but the next one for the Camel next weekend, August the 26th, 1 p.m. Eastern, is the Red Bull Ring. So do check that out with 2 weeks left in the season. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.